Your defense is in trouble. Oh.
Trouble.
Nketiah's in the
Nketiah in
box.
the box.
Your defense is in trouble. Oh. Nketiah's in the box.
But now let's talk about one of the key players in that game, and that's Eddie Nketiah. Nketiah has shown again and again, and I'm super excited for everybody who believed in him, because I know so many people who thought Festus is one of them, who didn't think he was good enough to step into Jesus' shoe. And I was like, Jesus was doing almost nothing.
Yes, I've collected the form that is in circulation.
So it's shown us again and again that put him in that first 11, give him extended run in the team, he will always deliver. He will always deliver. And that is exactly, what he has done so far. Right now, is Arsenal's highest goal scorer in all competition this season. When Jesus gets back, what happens to Nketiah? And I'm starting with you, Festus, on this one. When Jesus gets back and is fully fit, what happens to Nketiah?
Really, that's a difficult question. If I'm permitted to be
you don't need anybody's permission.
I don't want to be.
Just say whatever you want to say.
I know the manager will want to do. No, most managers will always start their first 11. But what I'm saying is, if we want to be fair, when Jesus comes in, I think we need to take time to, bring him back to the squad. Bring him 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and gradually until he gets fit, play him in the FA Cups, and if we're still in those competitions, I think Nketiah should be allowed to continue while Jesus gradually gets back to fitness with 15, 20 minutes matches, and let him play as a sub for Nketiah for now until he gets to the point where we could say, okay, Jesus is back. Jesus also brings something to that team.
Is back to what?
Back to full 100% fitness. Then
what does that give? What does that 100% give to the team? That
at that point in time, at that point in time, we could see the form of Nketiah and Jesus, and the manager at that point could play depending on the match.
So first, I'm not asking for. I'm telling you right now. Yeah. We know what form Nketiah is in right now.
Yeah, Nketiah should be allowed to continue with the form he is. Okay, Kali, let me just get straight. With the form he is, it's unfair. It's unfair to that young man if Jesus come back and you immediately put him on the bench. It's unfair to him.
Nketiah is still answering the question. Nketiah or Jesus, with the form Nketiah is in, who starts?
Of course, Nketiah should start. That's what I'm saying. That's the whole story. I know you can't say simple. You can't force me to
simple. Because all this other you are trying to go around. Talk to us direct.
I'm not in a law course. You're not a lawyer. You're not a lawyer that buttons yes or no.
Don't go. Don't merry go around. Talk to us direct.
Okay, Kali, hold on. Calm down, young man. Nketiah has every right to start our matches for now. He is in form, clearly in form, one of the hottest striker in the Premier League so far. It will be so unfair to him not to start the matches. So he should be the one starting our matches for now. I use the word for now.
I know. No, be you, Eddie. Yeah. Nketiah has shown that he's a better finisher, a better scorer of the goal than Jesus. It's clear from his games to goal ratio. You are the manager. What do you do when Jesus comes back to full fitness?
Your defense is in trouble.
Nketiah in the box.
Your defense is in trouble. Nketiah's in the box. Listen, there is. I don't. This is not even a decision to be made at all. Strikers score goals. That's what you're measured on. And so far, so good. Nketiah scores goals. I always I'm very, very happy to one of the first people that used to say this young man needs chances. You don't do what you've done in the under 21, become the all-time goal scorer for the English under 21 without knowing how to put the ball in the back of the net.
Simple.
Let the boy have the touches in the box. And even before he went into this format, I remember saying that when it comes to in the box, Nketiah is our best striker in that team. So it's very simple. As a manager, you play Nketiah. He's scoring goals. His goal to game ratio is ridiculous.
way better than
absolutely ridiculous. Right now, Nketiah is scoring a goal every less than 60 minutes. He's on the pitch. His average, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Even if you just look at his goals, per performances, is just absolutely high up there. So for me, Gabriel Jesus is bringing a lot of things into the team. And the things that people always talk about is not really the goal scoring. It's all the other elements that he brings into the team.
Let's break it down. Let's break it down. What does Jesus bring to the team right now that Nketiah doesn't?
I think the difference is that Gabriel Jesus gets involved in a lot of the play outside of the box, right?
And Nketiah does that as well.
Nketiah does that.
Nketiah has better ball winning ratio than Darwin Núñez, Harry Kane, and Haaland. That shows you how involved.
Yes, he is. But I think the other things that people look at is some of the skills that Gabriel Jesus brings in terms of going against.
He's a better dribbler.
Better dribbler. Close control a lot better than Nketiah. But all of this.
What do you mean by close? So let's not throw big grammar about. What do you mean by big control? Close control.
Charlie, you're being a bully.
I'm not. No. This is not being a bully. This is asking the right questions.
You're being a bully.
This is what you need to understand.
So,
we can throw big English about and
Charlie,
not see
shut
anything.
up. I know you. Forget
not see anything. So Eddie.
Close
control. What does that mean?
So close control.
Charlie, you don't know what close control means in football.
No, I don't because I see Nketiah I see Nketiah's close control and it's good. And you tell me he has Jesus has it, Nketiah doesn't. I want to understand what it means.
So let me tell you the difference. The close control when he's around pressure. And I'm talking about just one-on-one. I'm talking about 2 or 3 players. Coming out of those situations with the ball is not necessarily Nketiah's strength.
So that's close situations, not necessarily close control. When is in close situations.
But
close control is I have the ball at my feet. I have my ball at my feet.
Yeah, how well he keeps the ball close to you and stuff like that.
How well he keeps the ball. You have to say that Gabriel Jesus just has the edge, right? I'm not saying that Nketiah doesn't have it, but Jesus just has the edge.
You're doing comparison now between 2 people, so that's
comparing between the 2 of them. He can keep it longer. He can keep it, with pressure. He can keep it on the move.
Because he's a better dribbler of the ball.
Yes, and he can also play. He can also play with the likes of Martinelli, Saka easily than what Nketiah could do.
That's not true. That's not true.
Actually,
Nketiah and Martinelli have been switching. People have not been paying attention. Nketiah and Saka have been switching.
I think to that effect, his contribution in that respect is getting better.
Yeah, it's getting better. But we are doing comparison now. I'm not saying.
I'm saying.
I'm not saying it's not good, but I'm saying we are comparing two people.
I'm not saying. I'm not talking about good or whatever. I'm saying what you are saying. Jesus brings. I want to be sure that we're saying the same thing. That what you are saying, Jesus brings, Nketiah doesn't bring. That's what I said.
No.
Listen to the question I asked. Listen to the question I asked. Listen to the question I asked again.
Yeah.
Right? I said, what does Jesus bring to that team that Nketiah doesn't?
Okay,
that was my question.
If I'm going to answer that, I won't answer that way, the way you've asked that question. I will say, what does Jesus bring better than what Nketiah brings? Because both of them could bring the same thing, but one brings more. Because when you say what this person doesn't bring, it seems as if Jesus, like what we are trying to say now in terms of who plays better with the likes of Martinelli and Saka, both of them does, but I think Jesus does it more. And Jesus can play from the flanks easily, and he's also very good from the flank because of his experience in Man City. But in all, at times when you compare players, you say in all for now, who is and the role you've been deployed is a striker role. And what have you to offer is more of the goals, and what you're currently doing. So who is giving us that goals as a striker now? I think Nketiah is doing a better job in that field, because what Jesus can also bring, we have the likes of Saka, Martinelli doing that. So really, we don't need that much. We need somebody that will be putting those balls in the net for us while other guys do. Odegaard is there, Saka is there, Martinelli is there. Three of them alone does whatever Jesus can do from those flanks. So
Yeah.
Nketiah can, what we need him now is put these balls in the net. Yeah, score, and he's doing that better. So for me, that is why I will start him now.
The stats actually show, the stats, when you look at the stats of Nketiah and Gabriel Jesus, when it comes to goal scoring, Nketiah is the best, right now in Arsenal. No questions about it. According to, Sky Sports, Nketiah ranked number 10 in goal scored, in the season, this Premier League season, while Gabriel Jesus is 32nd. Shots on target, Nketiah is third.
Nketiah, of course, has more shots than Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus is 11th.
So please finish your stats and let me say I'll add something to it.
So big chances scored. Nketiah is third in the league compared to Gabriel Jesus, who's 19 in terms of big chances scored. Where Gabriel Jesus, comes a little bit better is in chances created and, touches in the opposition box. So in chances created, Gabriel Jesus has created a lot more chances than, of all the players every 90 minutes. Gabriel Jesus is ranked in the 50th rank, while Nketiah is 220th.
Don't forget, Jesus has played considerably more games in the Premier League.
He has.
Nketiah.
So of course, you kind of have to look at the stats and then you compare the amount of games that they've played. But touches in the opposition box, Gabriel Jesus is number 1 in the whole league. Compared to Nketiah, who's the 5th right now. So
and if you put that to games to touch ratio, Nketiah is ahead of him.
Yeah, I mean, if you do that, but I mean, I think it's just trying to look at the qualities that it's the players bring. And Faith said something really important there. Odegaard, Saka, those chances created, we can survive if those guys are doing their job. We need someone to hit the ball at the back of the net. And right now, Nketiah is on parallel.
Yeah.
So and that's why it's easy when you come into a side that is winning, that the vibes are good and all of that. And you want to attribute it to this, that, and all of that. Arsenal towards the end of last season was already showing signs of a big team, a team that wants to go a step higher, wants to go further. Yes, Arsenal lost their way after some key players got injured, last season and all of that. But I say this, when the season started, the only game Arsenal lost, right? When the season started, Arsenal started winning games from the get-go. Partey was not in the squad. Remember, up until the United game as well, Partey was not in the squad. He didn't play that game, So, but Partey got fit, and Arteta has the full complement of his two holding guys in the midfield, Xhaka and Partey, and then the defense, Zinchenko and the rest of them, started playing well. The confidence level is not the same now as it was at the start of the season, because it has gotten better. And like Pep Guardiola said, every time you win, your mentality, your psyche grows. Every time you win, it grows. As you continue winning, you get to a point where you begin to think that nobody can beat us when we're on our game, on our day. And that's why I think the Arsenal team, when they go behind, they don't lose their head. They don't drop their heads. They keep fighting. I think right now, Nketiah is the best striker Arsenal has. If Arsenal had started the season with Nketiah as the point man, I feel Arsenal would have scored a lot more goal than having Jesus in the side. I think the team will still have continued winning, but with a lot more goals than with Jesus as the point man. Unfortunately, it's taking a lot of the manager, the coaches, and a lot of other people, and maybe with Jesus' experience and how much money we paid for him, it's taking them a while to allow Nketiah being the man. But Nketiah has shown again that once you keep me in that team, put me in the first 11 and give me the confidence. Right now, Nketiah knows that he's going to play. And he's playing right now, thinking in my head that if I was him, I'm thinking, let me keep going this way and see what happens when Jesus gets back, if they will put me on the bench. Before now, Nketiah played with the mentality that no matter how well I play, no matter how well I perform, let me score a hat-trick in a game, I'm still going on the bench for Aubameyang or Lacazette next game. He knows that. So it was just coasting. He couldn't be bothered. But towards the end of the season, when Lacazette was not injured, but the manager just decided to change things and put Nketiah there, and Nketiah started scoring goals. And that was what led to him getting a new improved contract at the end of last season. Now, Arsenal has gone on to buy Jesus, who is coming with a bigger profile, coming from a bigger club. He's won the title a couple of times and all of that. And so he's there on the bench every time you put him on the bench. But look at him in the Europa League. He was scoring because that was his own competition. He knew that he starts all our Europa League games. And the Nketiah you saw 10 minutes in a Premier League game was totally different from the Nketiah you see play in the Europa League games. And that's because he knew that was his own competition. But now he's showing that same Nketiah in the Europa League that will fight, that will go to the flank, swap with the winger, swap with what's his name? And that's the reason Reiss Nelson was scoring in the Europa League, because himself and Nketiah were always swapping. And you see Reiss Nelson centrally and Nketiah coming from the flanks. So Nketiah, I think right now is the best striker Arsenal has, and he should be the one starting games for Arsenal. And I feel like Arsenal will score a lot more goals while all these other guys, the supporting cast, do their bit, create chances for him, and Nketiah will keep scoring goals. And that's what I think. I'm happy that I'm being proven right, because I've said this again and again and again. Nketiah has just been unlucky to not get playing time at Arsenal. His case is just like this player that likes to score a lot of goals in the cup games for Arsenal under Arsene Wenger, but never really got a look in the side. Players like Bentner will get to play the Arsenal player that eventually went to Real Sociedad, now plays in the MLS. I forgot his name. I've forgotten his name right now. But he was at the Arsenal. We will see him score hat-tricks.
Vera or something.
Yeah, Carlos Vela. Carlos Vela will score all kinds of amazing goals in the cup games, but we'll never try him out in the league.
He was a legend in US, yeah. Finally
he's a legend.
Came to.
That's where he's came to whatever. And you'll see Bentner. Lord Bentner will come into the side and play ahead of Carlos Vela, and you're asking yourself, how is that happening? So I think Nketiah should be allowed to just continue playing, till the season end, except he hits an elongated or a prolonged
that's where I was coming. I said for now
because Jesus was not scoring.
Was that 11 goals of not scoring from Jesus?
Yeah, exactly. Jesus was not scoring for over how many games?
11
but he still
games.
remained in the side for 11 games, and he still remained in the side. Can we?
That's not right, Eddie. When you say I know he has not scored, but he contributed 5 assists within that period.
We don't need your assists. We have other people playing your assists. We need somebody, because what happens is
you don't isolate something, and he didn't score. But
we need goals. He's not the playmaker. If the playmaker is on the field creating, the wingers are creating, we need somebody. So he's occupying a space for a goal scorer. That's what you have done. That's what you have done.
It's an interesting problem for the coach to have, because you could argue that since Jesus has come into the team, the likes of Saka, Odegaard, and Martinelli have scored more goals, compared to what they did last season. So,
but then you ask yourself, how many games did Martinelli play last season?
So, but this is what I'm saying. Now you have to look at, how your team functions. Is it by the addition of one player? Is it the subtraction of one player? Overall, because at the end of the day, right? Harry Kane is in Spurs, right? He's scoring goals for fun, but you see where Spurs are and where they've been in the last couple of years. So just scoring the goals, without the balance in the team, sometimes it's not always very good. So, and I guess that's the sort of thing that, a manager will be thinking and saying, well, you know what, can I get my balance right? So far, so good. The balance is right with, Nketiah scoring
So
the goal.
the absence of Jesus, has it made Arsenal weaker?
That's a very good question. That's a very good question to ask. And I guess weaker is always a comparative thing. Compared to what? So right now, the Arsenal team we've seen this season, the absence of Jesus hasn't made Arsenal weaker because we're still winning games. We're still being very competitive. We're not conceding more goals than we necessarily should. And we are finishing games right the right way. So I think we need a more games, a bigger sample size, because it's only been about 6 games so far. We need a bigger sample size.
So when you compare this period to Arsenal's to Jesus' last 6, Arsenal have been better.
No, Kali, I think what I will say is Jesus is not a factor. Jesus is not the defining factor.
The question is straightforward, Festus. The absence of Jesus, has it made Arsenal weaker?
For me,
have we created chances? Have we scored goals? Or have we struggled to create chances and score goals in his absence?
And the point I'm trying to make is null and void. It has not done anything, either weaker or stronger. That's the point I'm trying to explain. That's what I'm telling you. Jesus is not a defining factor. He has not. His absence has not made us weaker nor stronger. We are still where we are, which means that other players could be taken out, and we see that the question you're asking, like a party. If a party goes off, can we see a collapse of Arsenal? Or at that point, we could. Jesus has not really affected us either positively or negatively by his absence. That's what I'm trying to explain.
So Jesus' last 5 games or last 5 starts for Arsenal when he's in the side, Arsenal have scored 2, 7, 10 goals. That was before the World Cup. That was 5 games before the World Cup. Since the World Cup, he has not played. And Arsenal, last 5 games, Arsenal have scored 3, 5, 9, 12 goals. Arsenal are scoring more.
10,
so
12.
You said null and void. I'm telling you, yeah. Oh, it's no big deal, but 2 goals can make the difference. Look at, and let me put it in perspective. The game against Manchester United, just 1 goal won the game for us. That's where 2 goals can make a lot of difference. 1 goal was all we needed, because if we hadn't scored that 3rd goal, we'll have dropped points against United. So that's the context in which you look at those 2 extra and you ask yourself, did they? And one of those 2 goals, the final goal, the 3rd goal in that United game, was scored by Nketiah. Against Brighton, when we went down, who dragged us back? Nketiah. So what I'm saying is, I love the fact that we have options. Yes, the team has options. There is Jesus, there is Nketiah. The option, I love it. And I love the fact that we all know now that Nketiah can step up and do a big job. But I'm just saying, Jesus has not done anything to be our first choice striker. Instead, I'll go with Nketiah because he will score more goals for the team. I'll go with Nketiah because he will score more goals, and that's what I need from a striker, because we have a lot of people creating already. There's still Vieira on the bench that can still come and create. There's still Emile Smith-Rowe that will still come and create. There is still Reece Nelson, who is going to come back from injury and still create. So we don't need our striker creating. We need him scoring goals. Yes, every now and then you do the odd assist, which Nketiah has done as well. But in that team, I think we need to score goals.